make the jury look like the jury was crazy. No, the jury was very, very sane. Uh, the bogus fingerprint evidence, the bogus phone call evidence, which even their own policeman on the stand, I mean, he was a prosecutor, said to Meg Nicola, "You've got this all wrong. That person didn't call that person, you got the date wrong, and this and that, and this and that. This conspiracy of phone evidence is all wrong." And I mean, there was the prosecutors for about the 10th or 12th time caught with egg on their face, the jury watching it, the media not reporting it very well, except for me. And I just do a local show that most of you couldn't see. But we must not let this stand. And so the foundation is set up. Its principal purpose will be in the mission statement is first to set the record straight, make it clear that the Michael Jackson fans were not off key when they were screaming, "Innocent, innocent, innocent." I didn't know it for sure at the time. I thought at least maybe he gave him some wine because he wasn't going to live to get to be 21 and enjoy wine. So I thought maybe he did that. I never believed the other stuff. But it turned out he wasn't even guilty of that. Michael was clearly the victim of a tragic association with a grifter, liars, and a family. I believe Janet Arvizo had it in her heart from the get-go, the first time she got on Neverland Ranch. She had it in her heart to blackmail Michael some way or another. If she couldn't be queen of Neverland like Mrs. Chandler had it in her head that one day she was going to be queen of Neverland, if she couldn't get that position, then they were going to blackmail him. And blackmail him is exactly what they did, and that's exactly what the Chandlers did, as Geraldine Hughes' book so well lays out the foundation. And I look at Geraldine's book and I'm saying Geraldine should be a multimillionaire. That book should have sold 50 million copies. And it didn't. And I'm saying, okay, people don't read as much as they used to, especially in America. And this is why we have to do a documentary made for television. And we're going to show people what really happened. Because if you weren't in that courtroom every day and you didn't see it, you didn't see all the little things, like the policeman giving low fives to the prosecutors as they walk into the courtroom, and the artist sketch, the sketch artist, there were two of them, and the female one, none of us were allowed to bring our cell phones in. Well, she snuck hers in somehow, and it went off in the courtroom. Well, they didn't talk to her about banning her from the trial for the whole rest of the trial. But they wanted to ban me from the rest of the trial after they saw my first 3 or 4 shows. They wanted me out permanently for telling the truth. I mean, there was just a whole lot of stuff that the major media did not report. And if you look on my YouTube channel, you'll see there's a little clips, I forget what the name of it is, but you'll see first an FBI agent, head chief agent in charge of all of Los Angeles, Ted Gunderson. Then you'll see Jim Murray. And Jim Murray thought I was nuts all during the trial, saying, you know, there's no evidence here that's going to stand up, the jury's going to acquit. And Jim Murray said to me what virtually Aphrodite Jones and everybody else suggested: you're swimming in the wrong direction, Wagener. Well, it may have been the wrong direction for them, but it was the same direction the jury came to conclude. All I can say is until we do the documentary and put it on television from coast to coast in America, so the public, the non-Michael Jackson fans, see the truth, crimes like which was done to Michael will continue to happen, and there will be lesser celebrities, people who you will never hear of, and they'll be railroaded into prison. I know 4 or 5 right now, since the Michael Jackson trial, have been railroaded into jail. They shouldn't be in jail, but they couldn't afford a Thomas Mesereau or a Susan Yu, so they're sitting in jail today. costing the taxpayers money, wasting their lives, wasting their families' lives, causing an immense amount of family stress. Because when the government says you're guilty and you know you're innocent and your family knows you're innocent, but you're going to jail, the kids look at whoever's going to jail and say, well, you must have done something wrong because certainly the system is working, isn't it? No. The system is broke. The judicial system is completely broke. And I think the first thing should have happened in that trial is Melville should have recused himself because he's a close friend of Thomas Snedden and had been for decades. So to have two attorneys appear before a judge, and that judge is supposed to be neutral, Thomas Messer and Susan Yu, and to a lesser extent Bob Sanger, the local attorney from Santa Barbara, they had a very steep hill to climb because they're trying to overcome the built-in prejudice in favor of the prosecution built up by years of contact even before Melville was a judge and Snedden was a elected district attorney. And I believe the foundation is ready. We just need to connect a few dots. Michelle Jackson, the treasurer of the foundation, an aunt. She's married to Joe Jackson's brother. They live in Santa Barbara. We're going to the bank. We've got a specific bank recommended by the accountant and the bookkeeper. And we're going to open that account, I believe, Monday. If everything goes well, I don't see any reason why we won't have the account open Monday. Then it will take a few hours to a day, maybe 2 days, to get Steffi connected with the right technical stuff with the banking corporation that does it for the bank, so that when people donate, they'll have three choices. They can go right on the website and go click, click, donate their 10, 20, 50, whatever, directly into their bank account, or they can use a PayPal account, and we don't know how complicated that will be to open up a corporate PayPal account. And then the third choice, we'll have a P.O. box, which will also be given out on the website, and you can mail a check if you want to get a check back canceled by the foundation that you can put on your wall. On the website, Steffi, I understand, has now got it ready and prepared so that when you donate online through the website, you will automatically be able to go to the next step and print yourself a receipt that will have the official website logo, the foundation logo. It will have the name of the foundation that's making the documentary and state that you were one of the donators that helped create the documentary. So that wherever you are in the world, you will instantly have something you can hang on your wall and say, I had a part in this, and I can prove it. Any questions? Okay. Okay, have I seen Bashir admitting? I've looked at a lot of videos. I don't recall seeing that. Someone can send me a URL to my YouTube account, because I keep up with YouTube, but I don't keep up with my email. I'll certainly take a look at it, but no, it's a good thing if he did. I think he's one of the people that should be in jail. Well, if I understand the question from Golden is, why wasn't it publicly admitted and shown? I imagine he means on national television networks? Well, that's a good question. And it goes right, and thank you for the question. It goes right directly to what's wrong in America. We don't have an unbiased, neutral media anymore. There is no such thing in the United States. And that's a big part of what the documentary will show you. Because there's things that were not on the court record. They happened outside the courtroom, in the media pools. There were things that happened behind the trailers with the media that if you didn't have access, which the public didn't, I did because I had a media pass at that point. The media was taking its marching orders, basically. And their marching orders was from Murdoch or whoever owned their network. Their marching order was keep the country distracted with this Jackson trial. Hype, hype, hype. Because we've got a war going on here where Americans are getting killed and we're doing illegal things and private contractors are murdering civilians in other countries, and then our military has to go cover their butts for them and make it look like the enemy is the bad guy when the enemy is just people that want us to get the hell out of their country. And people forget because it wasn't very well broadcast. They should have been covering that stuff. We were torturing civilians in prisons in Afghanistan and Iraq who had done nothing to us, but they simply got the finger pointed at them because somebody who was in a competing taxi business wanted to get that taxi driver off the street. So he'd go to the Americans and say, oh, that taxi driver, he works for Al-Qaeda. He killed, several of your soldiers. And they'd go get that taxi driver. He was completely innocent. These are kind of things that are coming out of Gitmo, but they're leaking out and there's no media covering it. And so what did you have? You had this bimbo, she's dead now, that married a 90-year-old man. Does everybody remember that? Oh, you said it. I didn't say it. Well, okay. She's like the queen of the gold diggers. All right. She's, I don't know, what, 30 years old or something, in her 30s or 40s, and she's marrying a guy in his 90s. And on their wedding night, she goes off with the chauffeur, comes in, gives him a kiss goodnight on their wedding night, and then she leaves. And when he dies, she wants a big chunk of the money. And remember how we heard about that story, and we heard about it over and over and over and over till, you wanted to puke. And then when she died, then we heard about this Howard Stern guy, this attorney Howard Stern, and what did he have to do with getting custody of the kid? Who cares? This is just one gold digger who married one old multi-billionaire, and that's their problem, that's their lives. Meanwhile, the country was being put in a position to get our guys killed and to kill many, many innocent people in a country that our nation did not declare war on. Therefore, it's an illegal, unconstitutional war, but we're all distracted because we're looking at this bimbo. Then they had the Michael Jackson thing. Then they had the girl lost in Aruba. Then the girl was murdered in Aruba. And, you had on and on and on. What you didn't hear about is the sad, sad stories of the woman that she sent her husband off to the war in the Arab states, handsome, good-looking guy, and actually they weren't married when he went off, but they planned to marry when his first year was over, when he came back. When he came back, his face was horribly burned and disfigured. He looked like a monster. He wasn't the handsome guy she had promised to marry. She went ahead and married him anyway because his heart was the same heart. But after a couple of years of that, she couldn't live with the monster anymore because it wasn't just his face. It had scarred his very soul.